Hey guys, just checking back for part 2 of my Oi Rio Pro Fancy Surfer Pics videos. There are loads of updates and things to look at, so let's jump straight into it. The first thing to be aware of is the event has moved. As mentioned in my last video, the traditional and planned venue at Barra de Tijuca was being set up. Unfortunately though, there was a big swell that hit and damaged some of the infrastructure. That means that the event has now been moved to Grumari. According to the WSL's website, Grumari is about 45 minutes west of Barra de Tijuca. It's located in a nature reserve and much more difficult to access, so most of the talk is that there'll be a lot less Brazilian fans on the beach and a lot of them will be watching from the coronavirus on screens. The beach is supposed to be quite a strong punchy beach break. I know very little about the break because it has never been used on a CT event as far as I'm aware. I'm more than happy for someone to correct me on that in the comments below if I'm wrong, but I've not been able to find any results or previous competition at the venue. It's supposed to be punchy though. It's supposed to offer tubes, turns and barrels, although I do understand that it's supposed to offer less barrels than Barra de Tijuca would offer. So that's all really quite important when picking your team. I normally, for Barra de Tijuca, do look for guys who are good in the barrel, similar to France and Portugal. There's some good points to be earned there. It's certainly something that the judges will reward, unlike a certain venue like Bells for example, where barrels aren't particularly highly rewarded. A good barrel at Barra de Tijuca would get you good points. However, if there's not going to be as many barrels on offer at Grumari, it's certainly something I'm going to be factoring in and dropping the barrel surfers out in favour of guys who are better with turns. The World Surf League described the break as being good for airs, barrels and turns. To me, I've tried looking at Magic Seaweed for images of the wave. Most of those are in quite small surf and it does look like it offers some good air and turn sections. Barrels on the other hand it doesn't look particularly great for, which is in line with what I've read on most of the forums. So let's have a look at what the swell forecast looks like. Again, as usual, thanks to Magic Seaweed for letting me use their charts to show you guys what the surf's going to be like. The waiting period for the event is from the 10th till the 21st, so let's have a look. So Rio De Janeiro and Grumari are located right about here in the Brazilian map. For the first couple of days, we have quite small surf, very consistent but very small. It's almost the first week, again all looking pretty similar as far as the surf height's concerned. Then we do have this low develop just off the coast there, which should send us a pulse down for later in the waiting period towards the end. But again, it doesn't look like it's going to be too big. I think it peaks around the 18th, 19th, potentially peaking through the night though, unfortunately, by the look of it. As usual though, it's quite a long way off, so whether that will materialise or not is something as well that we need to consider carefully. Let's have a quick flick at the winds though for the period 2. The beach faces south, although Wanna Surf says southwest winds are ideal. For offshores you're looking more at a northerly sort of direction. I do wonder whether the people on Wanna Surf have completed that on the basis that it's not a barreling wave anyway, so to give you the better winds, arguably you want the onshores to help the guys with the airs. So the winds through this period start offshore, turning onshore, and then just continue really that steady stream of surfs obviously coming from those winds. Later in the period, what day are we on here? It's around the 15th, they do start swinging back round again. The 17th, really stronger winds, cross-offs. Southwest, exactly what the Wanna Surf guide describes it as needing, around the 18th again. And then we drop off into the 19th. So at the moment, let's face it, the swell's not looking great, but there is surf, consistent but small. As far as fancy surfer goes, you really want to be therefore looking at light-footed surfers, good in smaller surf, air game, rail game. Barrels I think are unlikely to factor in much, if at all, in the event. The 18th, 19th we might get some bigger surf, there might be time there for that sort of stuff to factor in, but as far as fancy surfer goes and looking at getting your surfers, as many surfers as you can as deep into the competition as possible, that skill set is not going to be factoring into later in the event. So for me, I'm looking at lighter footed surfers, good in small surf, and good rail game as well, because I think recently the judges have been rewarding good rail turns in small surf as well as they have Fleet Toledo's air game, for example. So here's my Surfer Mag team. I've picked the surfers so there's no clashes in Heat 1, so hopefully maximising the most people who go through. I'll put a link below to what the heat draw is so you can do it yourself. I'm going firstly for Adriano de Souza. He's obviously Brazilian himself. so he's in front of the home fans, and although he's not had the best of years, I think he does well in grindy surf. So what we've got coming should suit him. Next, got Italo Ferreira, again Brazilian, really good light-footed and heavy-footed surfer. I think he'll really suit the venue. Felipe Toledo, another Brazilian, they all seem to do so well in front of the home crowd. They're not fazed by the local support and really use it to their advantage. Looking at the forecast again, I think it's really going to suit him, although he's a bit of an unknown coming back from injury as to what his present form is. Jordy Smith, I got him at £6,000. I'm definitely keeping him in my team at that, especially bearing in mind that J-Bay isn't too far away. I also think he seems to be clicking this year after his injuries that he's had. I think he'll do quite well. His big turns, as I say, have been scored really well in smaller surf recently, so should put in a good result. Caio Abelli, absolutely brilliant year so far, another Brazilian. I don't think you can fault any of the Brazilians in front of the home crowds. I could quite easily have filled all 8 slots with Brazilians, but I thought I'd try and mix it up a little. Caio I do think will do quite well. The beach break should suit him pretty nicely. Matt Wilkinson, got him at £5,500 at the start of the year, and definitely keeping him in there. I think the change of venue will suit him if anything. If there's less barrels and it all comes down to turns, his style should really help him maximise the scoring criteria. Leonardo Fioravanti had quite a good showing at the Margaret event. I think his style of shooting will suit the beach breaks as well. For £1,500, why not? Put him in there, and it all allowed me then to have some more expensive surfers. And finally, Sebastian Zietz, number 2 in the world at the moment, and £1,500. Again, it'd be silly to miss him out. It's slightly different surf to what he's been performing well in so far this year, but the way he's been surfing as well this year so consistently and smartly, I'm hoping they'll be able to progress for a few heats. Got Jadson Andre as my alternate surfer, hopefully, and probably won't have to rely on that. But again, another Brazilian. I think they all tend to perform well at home, so that's my Surf Mag team. Let's check out my World Surf League team. Some of them are similar. The first two, Matty Wilkinson and Italo Ferreira, both from my other teams as well, so I've already explained why I like those guys out here. Connor Coffin I've gone for because I think if the surf's going to be small, his rail game will probably suit quite well. Then 3 big Brazilians, all guys who shouldn't be in Tier B really, with it being a beach break. There's a lot of luck going on, but those 3 are as good as anybody out there. And finally, Tier C I really struggled with. There's a lot of wildcards and replacement guys in there. I've gone for Matty Banting though, not long off the qualifying series, surfing a lot of smaller surf and having to grind your way through heats. So I think it'll probably benefit him quite nicely in these beach break type conditions. And finally, Alejo Muniz, he's come into a lot of the beach break events and done pretty well. So again, in the smaller surf, I really think it's going to benefit him, and also the fact he's a Brazilian, going to thrive off the crowd. And hopefully do pretty well. So guys, those are my picks. I'd love to know what you guys have chose and what your thoughts are for the event. Please let me know in the comments below. If you've liked this video, I've been doing them for every event so far this year and plan to keep doing them. So press subscribe, then you'll be the first to see them and you'll get the notifications. One thing that somebody did ask was about doing a women's one. So if that would be of interest to people, please do let me know in the comments below or drop me a message. Alternatively, message me on social media. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'll link those in the description. But yeah, as we go as well and we get nearer to the event and things change, I will keep my social medias up to date with any changes, and I'll share some articles that I come across about picks and tips for the fancy event. So more reasons to subscribe and follow us on there. But yeah, thank you guys, and check back soon.